Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to take out a few minutes to share the story of what happened between myself and Oliver. Yeah, that's the name of the guy. His name is Oliver. Is from Benin Republic, I think. So now on Friday was the 10th of November. So I was on my way to Ikoi at about 5 p.m. in the evening. So I was driving on Sanusi Fafunwa and I happened to see the guy walking on the street on just by the side of the road. And I said to myself, I know this guy. He comes to my church. I see him, a couple of times. I've seen him a couple of times in church. Never spoken to him, but I know I've noticed him, particularly in the car park, just talking to people asking for help. So, again, I continued on my journey. I went to do what I was doing in Ikoyi. I left Ikoyi, heading back home at about 8 o'clock, thereabout. So I decided to stop at a restaurant on Kingsway Road in Ikoyi, which is called The Place, just recently opened. So I went in there to buy something, but then I was on the phone when I got in there. So I finished my conversation and decided, okay, you know what? Instead of carrying my diary, my phone, my car keys, and walk all the way to the counter, buy the food, and then have to carry the tray, so I decided, okay, you know what? I'll just leave this here and then walk over there, just about, just a few steps ahead, and then carry out my transaction and then come back. So all the while, I kept looking back to be sure that no one comes to see to where I kept my stuff, and nobody came there. But within a few seconds of having to turn my attention to paying for my food, and then turning around and coming back to my seat, that's when all this happened. So I did the payment, came back, sat down, started eating, and then I sort of where's my phone? My diary, my car key was intact. I couldn't find my phone. So I checked everywhere around under the table, right on the seat and everything. Couldn't find it. So I called the supervisor and I asked, okay, look, did any of the cleaners here find the phone here and then picked it up? And they said no. I said, okay, can you confirm from everybody? And they tried. Everybody said they didn't see a phone. So the supervisor said, okay, you know what? Look, let's go check. Let's go to the security room and we can check the CCTV footage to see what happened between when you went to buy, your stuff and then when the phone was taken. So I went with them and we checked it out. But to be frank, I had suspected that this guy because when I walked into the restaurant, there again I saw the guy sitting in the restaurant. And I said, why am I seeing this man two times in a day? But interestingly, he wasn't eating anything. He just sat down there, and he appeared a bit agitated, as though, okay, something is going on. I need to get out of here. But again, I just didn't pay much attention. But I took notice of him that he was there, and so immediately I couldn't find the phone. My mind went straight to him. I said, I hope that guy hasn't taken my phone. But I went to the security room and just to confirm, and yes, of course, we saw what happened, and the split second he found the space to do that. He just went ahead, went to the lady sitting right beside the table. I kept my stuff, asked for some money, and the lady gave him 200 naira. I took the money, and as he stood up to leave, for those of you who have seen the video I posted, he just picked up my phone and walked out. So I said, okay, what do I do? So next thing I did was normally I leave the location settings on my phone on. I know that it does drain your battery, but it is important to sometimes leave it on because it helps tracking you wherever you are. So that's one of the things I do. I make a habit of leaving the location setting on, so that I could track my phone or anyone can track me wherever I go. So I activated that and I decided to check, and I found out that at the time I was checking, this was about an hour after. The phone was somewhere around Tinubu Square, Bangoshe area. So I got into my car and I headed there to find out if there was, one of those phone stores that maybe he's trying to sell it off. But again, this was about past 9:30 in the night. So I didn't expect any of the stores to be open, but I felt since I knew the guy, I said, okay, look, I'll walk around looking, just look at all the nooks and crannies there and be sure that just to find out if he's there. And I went around and I didn't see him. Checked, saw all the the roadside food vendors. Checked all around there. I couldn't find him. So I said, okay, look, I resolved that, okay, I'll wait for him to come to church on Sunday and see what I could do. But the next morning, I decided, okay, I'll track the phone again. So I sort of signed into my find my phone, the Android application for finding my phone. So I tracked it again, and I discovered that same night on Friday night, 10:30 p.m. at night, he had turned on the phone again, and I discovered this time around that the phone was tracked to a location not far from there. So now thinking about it, the same guy wouldn't be hovering around one particular neighborhood trying to dispose of a phone if he's not living there. So I figured I put one and two together. I thought this guy lives around here. So I did a little bit of accuracy with the maps and I discovered the exact street where it was on and the exact location where it was. So now I grew up in Lagos Island, so I kind of knew the area pretty well. So Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock, 10:30 about that time, I left home, zoomed out there, went all the way there. And I went to the exact location. I couldn't find him. I drove around there, hung around there, waited a bit, and I couldn't find him. I tried to see, but again, there you have a lot of nefarious activities going on around there. People selling Indian hemp and things like that. So I thought it's wise to just leave the area. So I left. But then I went back to the restaurant, and this time I decided that I wanted the actual footage. So they played the game for me, and I used my phone to capture the phone my wife gave me to capture the video of how he picked up the phone. And then I held that as evidence, saying that look, if he comes to church, I'll get a security man to apprehend him, and then I'll show the evidence of the video. So exactly what happened on Sunday as well. We had the first service starting at 8 o'clock. So I was sitting there and I told a friend of mine that look, I'm looking for this guy. If you see this guy, because she happened to have met him before because he somehow approached her. He had approached her for some begging for some money a couple of weeks back. So she just said to me, "Oh, your man is in church, the man you're looking for." So I looked around and I looked and I spotted him sitting right at the back of the church, this time wearing a different shirt without a face cap. Yeah. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to allow anything distract me from the blessings of this service. So I stayed focused and I forgot about it. But then towards the end of the service, just before the benediction was shared, I just walked out, went to the back, got the ushers, the head usher, picked him out, brought him out. The head security guy got two policemen to come and he was questioned. But he didn't even deny for 1 minute. He just said he's sorry that he took the phone. So there we began the conversation. I said, look, I'm not interested in prosecuting you. I think that coming to church will change your life if you're willing to allow that happen. So I'm not going to prosecute you for anything. So I just want my phone back. How do we retrieve the phone? So he said he could take us to the place where he sold it and to the guy he sold it to. I said, you know the guy? You know the guy? Do you have his phone number? No, I don't. So let's go. Sunday morning, two police officers, we went there. We went to the place, but the guy wasn't there. You see, they take turns to sell Indian hemp around the area. So, so this guy's own turn was coming on Wednesday. So he was telling me, that's the Oliver guy who stole the phone, was telling me, okay, if I could give him till Wednesday, he would get this guy to return the phone. And the guy's name was Offload, some Offload. So I said, okay, look, I don't know. Let's get the phone number of the guy. So we asked around and we had someone give us the phone number of the guy. And we called him and we spoke to him. And he was scared out of his pants. And he said, no, he doesn't want any police case. I said, look, listen to me. I'm not going to prosecute you. I just want the phone back. It's as simple as that. So I had a long conversation over the phone on Monday, convinced him to come and meet me on Monday at sort of an agreed location right there at Tinubu Square, right by the Methodist Church of Tinubu Square. Come meet me there. There will be no policemen, and we'll hand over the phone to me. And so we agreed and said, okay. So Monday came, I went there. We agreed to meet at 11 o'clock. I called him up. He said he was coming all the way from where he was in the bus in traffic. So I got there at about 11:30, waited for him. Called him. Oh, I'm coming. I'm somewhere. I'm at a DLG now. Long or short, it took about 3 hours to have a back and forth with him because he still wasn't convinced that there are no policemen. So eventually what happened, when I had to go back to Tinubu because eventually I went to find somewhere to sit and find some food to eat, park somewhere, chill a bit, waiting for his phone call. And then I called him about 2, 3 times. He kept telling me I should give him a few minutes. Eventually, I was upset. I started shouting at him. I said, if you don't bring that phone, then this is going to be a police case. So anyways, he said, okay. I should stay at Tinubu. He's going to come. So I went there, parked again, So I sat there about 1 hour observing everything around me, just making sure that I understand the movements of, the unusual movements all around me. Suddenly, I saw some guy who just floated in somewhere, and he came to speak to, the local area guy who does the parking around there. And but more like a, sort of light conversation. But I took notice that it wasn't a normal, friendly conversation. It was more like a sort of a strategic inquest of something. So, but I chose not to look at them. But I was observing from the side of my eye, and then we finished that conversation, and the other guy went away in another direction, and so the guy who parked the car continued doing his work as if nothing happened. After a while, I flashed him. I said, "Come, come." He came to me, and I said to him, "Did they give you anything from me?" I said, "No, no. What, am I expecting something?" I said, "Yes. I'm waiting for someone to bring something to me." He said, okay. He doesn't know anything. That they've not given him anything. I said, "Okay. That guy that spoke to you, was he looking for someone?" He said, "No, no, no, no. He doesn't know anything about that." But right as I was speaking to him, the same guy appeared from the back of the vehicle and tapped on my glass. And I wound down. He said, "Oh, am I trying to buy something? Do I want to buy something?" I said, "No, I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy anything. I'm waiting for someone." He said, "Who am I waiting for?" I said, "I'm waiting for someone to bring something." Then he said to me, "Is it your phone you're waiting for?" I said, "Yes, it's my phone. Can I have it?" He said, "Okay, that he's not the one, but he's just trying to be sure that everything is okay." So he came around to check. Um, he said, "Okay, I should just give them about 10 minutes. He's good. Now I'm going to go back and then tell them that the road is clear. They can bring the phone." I said, "Okay, that's cool." And he walked away right away. And I waited for another 30 minutes. Now, in between that, another young girl floated around and just stood somewhere, but looked at me intently. I looked at her and she walked away, went across the road, stood at another position, um, and I called her to come. And she refused to come. And I told the guy who parked me, I said, "Can you ask her what she's doing?" And she said, "Oh, she's waiting for some random person to come." And then all of a sudden, she just floated away. So I smiled at it, and I waited for another 15 to 20 minutes again right there before eventually two guys just knocked on my glass, my window, and I wound down, and he said, "Oh, they're sorry for keeping me waiting. I shouldn't be upset." They apologized profusely, and then they handed me my phone. But of course, they're taking off the case that flashed the phone, but gave it back to me. So I said, "Oh, look, guys." And I stood for the next 15 minutes. I gave them some serious talking to. I said to them, "You guys are, why must you engage in such activities? Why can't you find able-bodied men, good-looking, able-bodied men, guys like you? You should find something productive to do." They said, "There's no work. If I find anything for them to do, they will do." I said, "Look, I need your phone numbers because I need to keep in touch with you guys." And they were like, "No, no, they will call me. Since they have my number, they will call me. They will reach out to me. They will talk to me. That's anything I have for them, any work that they have kids that they're ready to work hard, that there's just no work. That's why they do what they do." So I said to them, "I'd like to keep in touch with you guys because I want you guys to change your ways and you guys to change your life, change your lives and get doing something that's productive rather than being, just working in the underworld and creating more problems for society." So that's long and short of the story. I retrieved my phone, got it back, um, waiting for my SIM activation to happen now. So see, that's what happened. I just wanted to be persistent because I think also that I saw this guy the first time in Victoria Island for a reason. I don't believe things happening haphazardly. I think things always there's always a purpose to how things happen. So the fact that I saw him earlier in the day, and I saw him again, in the restaurant, and I just feel that it's beyond a case of theft. I think also God wants me to have a relationship with the guy and then see what happens to his life. So that's the task before me, and I think that it's worth it. Thanks for enjoying my bit of the story. Go back to you.